So 13 of the 15 people killed in the Bondi shooting have now been identified. Reporter Ruby Cornish joins us. Ruby, so what's known about the victims so far?
Well, Joe, it's worth sort of explaining that it seems like these funerals are happening quite quickly after Sunday's events, and that's because in Jewish tradition it's actually important to bury the dead quickly. It's a way of honouring them, and it's a demonstration of what's known as kavod hamet, and bodies must be buried before the 7-day mourning period known as Shiva can begin. So that's why we are seeing these funerals happening already. We just heard there from Digby about the first funeral today for one of the rabbis who was killed on Sunday, a 41-year-old rabbi, Eli Schlanger. He was the head of the Chabad mission in Bondi for 18 years, and he leaves behind a wife and young children, and that includes a 2-month-old baby. There were so many people there at that funeral today. It was very crowded inside and out. Rabbi Schlanger was one of 2 rabbis who was killed on Sunday. The other was Yaakov Levitan. He was 39 years old and also deeply involved in Chabad operations across Sydney. He'd also been instrumental in planning the Hanukkah event on Sunday. That's him with his family there on the far left. And Joe, of course, one of the victims we're hearing most about is the youngest, 10-year-old Matilda. We are not using her last name, but that's her there. Her family says she was just a happy kid. She had a younger sister that she was extremely close with. Her school has put out a statement today saying, "We have so many beautiful memories of her, from choreographing dances on the playground to K-pop demon hunters, losing her glasses when they were on her head and facing her fears, bravely presenting her speech in front of her classmates, describing her as having a strength and joy for life that they will always cherish and remember." Those small details really painting a picture of who she was. Her aunt also spoke to the media down at Bondi, and this is what she had to say.
Thank for all people's support from all over the world who is helping. Like, we'll very appreciate, it's very important for us, and only love and smiles and happiness to all of you.
And Joe, I'll take you through some of the other victims that we can show you as well, starting off with Boris and Sophia German. Now, this is them. They're a couple in their 60s. They tried to intervene and prevent this terrorist attack. Boris is now being known as the second Bondi hero. He actually managed to tackle the gunman and took the gun off him for a brief few seconds. We saw that vision come out yesterday. Quite amazing. Unfortunately, after that altercation, both he and his wife were killed by the gunman, and they are being remembered as heroes. Edith Brutman is another victim. We just had that statement up there from her family. We're not showing her. We've been asked not to show her face, but her family says that we ask that her life, not the senseless violence that took it, be what endures. We hope that her memory calls us as a nation back to decency, courage and peace. Now, this is Dan El-Kayem. He's a young Frenchman who moved to Sydney just last year. According to his social media profile, he'd been working as an IT analyst. He had a football club in Rockdale. They describe him as popular and talented. And the French President, Emmanuel Macron, has extended his condolences on behalf of Dan's home country, France. Another victim is Reuven Morrison. He is a businessman who emigrated from the Soviet Union as a teenager in the 1970s, and he called Bondi home. Just last year, after an attack on a Melbourne synagogue, he actually spoke to the ABC and said that he had been watching his back when he grew up, and he was hoping that Australia could be a safer place for Jewish people. His local rabbi described him as a generous contributor to both Melbourne and Sydney Jewish communities. Another victim is Peter Marr. He is an ex-New South Wales police officer. He served in the force for 34 years. He's also a volunteer and a manager at the Randwick Rugby Club. They know him as Marzo. And on Sunday, when he was killed, he had been working as a freelance photographer at the Hanukkah event that was targeted by these gunmen. Tibor Weitzen was a 78-year-old father and grandfather and great-grandfather. He reportedly died shielding his loved ones in this attack. He migrated to Australia from Israel in 1988, and his family described him as full of life. His granddaughter Leor said, "My grandfather was truly the best you could ever ask for. He was so proud of us and loved us more than life itself." Joe, I can also tell you about a few other victims that we have been either asked not to show or we've decided not to show their photos for various reasons. One of them is a Holocaust survivor named Alexander Kleitman. He and his wife had been married for 57 years, and he also died trying to protect his wife from a spray of bullets. He leaves behind 2 children and 11 grandchildren, so clearly someone who will be so missed in his community. Marika Pogani, the ABC is still working to verify details about her, but she's another victim. And then just a short time ago, we heard confirmation about the 13th victim, Boris Tetleroyd, and he was killed and his son was injured, and his son is still in hospital receiving treatment for his injuries. And the last update we had regarding hospitalisations, there are 21 people still receiving treatment in hospital. 5 of those people are in a critical condition.
And there were 2 police officers who were shot when they were bravely taking on the gunman. What can you tell us about one of those police officers?
So one of those police officers was a 22-year-old Jack Hibbert, and he was working at the time, so he was in the line of duty. He was seriously injured. His family has released a statement via the New South Wales Police saying that he sustained 2 bullet wounds, one to his head and another to his shoulder. He was taken into intensive care where he was intubated. He underwent multiple surgeries. He has survived, but his injuries have resulted in a loss of vision in one of his eyes. And now he faces obviously a long and challenging recovery ahead with additional surgeries required. And as I said, he was only 22 years old and he'd only been in the police force for 4 months. His family said that, he was doing a job that he deeply loves and he's driven by a commitment to protect his community.
Okay, we'll leave there, Ruby Cornish.
Thanks, Joe.